The Belém Tower is in the city of Lisbon. This monument was built between 5050 and 5021, with the purpose of serving both as gateway to the city of Lisbon and as defense system against possible invasion and attacks. The influence of Moorish art is manifested in decoration of archer windows and balconies, as well in the domes of watchtowers. Where the Jerónimo monastery is located today, there was originally a small chapel dedicated to Saint Maria that was built by Infante Dom Henrique in 1452. In the beginning of the 16th century, King Dom Manuel I claimed to have a large monastery built there, which was donated to the affairs of São Jerónimo. Inside, there is a old church, manual masterpiece designed by João de Castilho. St. George Castle is one of the most emblematic monuments in Lisbon. Located on a high hill in the city, the castle itself was founded in the 10th and 11th centuries, when Lisbon was important Muslim port city. In 1147, the first king of Portugal, Dom Afonso Henriques, conquered the castle and the city from the Moors. In the 16th century, it was the castle that King Dom Manuel I received Vasco da Gama after his sea voyage into India. Inside, the museum center stands out, where you can see the history of Lisbon and the Tower of Ulysses.
The University of Coimbra is one of the oldest universities in the world, founded in 1290 by King Denis of Portugal. Initially, the university was located in the Royal Palace of Coimbra, but in 1537 it was transferred to the current Paço das Escolas. Before the foundation of the university, the Santa Cruz Monastery was established in 1131 by monks of the Order of St. Augustine. The monastery became an important religious, political, and cultural center in the region, and was attended by many Portuguese kings and nobles. The old Cathedral of Coimbra was built in the 12th century and it is one of the oldest monuments in the city. It was originally constructed as a Romanesque church, but was rebuilt several times over the centuries and incorporated Gothic and Baroque elements. Over the years, these three institutions, the University of Coimbra, the Santa Cruz Monastery, and the Old Cathedral, have played important roles in the history, culture, and education of Portugal. Nowadays, they are important tourist and cultural attractions in the city of Coimbra.
The Dom Luís First Bridge is a metal structured bridge with two decks, built between 1881 and 1886, connecting the cities of Porto and Vila Nova de Gaia, separated by the Douro River. This construction replaced the old suspension bridge that existed in the same place. The Belgian engineer Théophile Seyrig was responsible for this reconstruction, who previously collaborated with Gustave Eiffel in the construction of the Dona Maria Pia Bridge and the railway. The Porto City Council is the second largest in the country, comprising 13 councillors representing different political forces. The São Bento railway station is an interface of the Minho line, which serves the city of Porto. It is located in the historic center of Porto. The station is considered one of the main monuments in the city, especially famous for its tile panels. The Palace of the Commercial Association of Porto, Palácio da Bolsa, in the city of Porto, began to be built in October 1842 due to the closure of the Casa da Bolsa do Comércio, which temporarily obliged the Porto merchants to discuss their business on the streets, in the open air. With a mixture of architectural styles, the building presents in all its splendor traces of the 19th century neoclassical, Tuscan architecture as well as the English Neo-Palladian, being covered in gold in the interior. The Church and Tower of Clérigos from the 18th century is a remarkable architectural complex located in the city of Porto. It is considered a postcard of the city. It comprises three main elements: the church, the tower, and the House of Brotherhood.
The construction of this sanctuary was dedicated to Santa Luzia and the Sacred Heart of Jesus. It began in 1904 and continued until 1959. The architectural style was inspired by Roman Byzantine style, integrated into a revival style of architecture that characterized the turn of the century. Over the years, this square has had the name of Campo do Forno, Praça da Rainha, and currently Praça da República. In the photos, you can be seen that little has changed in the buildings around it, only some changes in the square itself. The Church of Nossa Senhora da Agonia dates from the 18th century, and it was built over the earlier period in the 17th century. This Baroque style chapel shows influences from Luso-Brazilian styles.
The fortress was built in the 17th century and it is located in the city of Valença, Portugal, on the border with Spain. The fortress was built to protect the region from Spanish invasions, and it has a star-shaped design with walls, bastions and ditches. The fortress has been restored, and it's now an important tourist attraction with shops, restaurants and panoramic views of the city and the Minho River. The Firefighter Museum is a space dedicated to the history of firefighters in the city and the region. The museum has a collection of antique objects and equipment used by firefighters, including uniforms, helmets, hoses, vehicles and rescue tools. There are also interactive and education exhibitions on fire prevention and the work of firefighters. The museum is a tribute to firefighters and a way to raise awareness among the population about the importance of safety and fire prevention.
The Romanian milestone marks a 42-mile distance from Braga to Tui. It was ordered to be built by Emperor Claudius in the 1st century after Christ. Over the ages, it also served as pillory. The Roman 19 route enters Valença by Fontoura, crosses Sardal, the Pedreira Bridge, and reaches of the Veiga de Valença, where there's a passage to Tui. This route had a military, commercial, and pacification purpose. The St. Stephen Church has a religious neoclassic architecture, with its longitudinal plan with 3 naves. The Colegiada de São Estevão de Valença was headquartered here, as well the Bishopric of Ceuta. From those times, it is possible to appreciate the episcopal chair in Gothic Mudéjar style, as well the armchairs and paintings from life of São Estevão. The church still preserves the only extinct picture in Portugal of the Virgin bathing a boy who escaped the Inquisition.
The Valença Road Rail Bridge, also known as Valença Bridge or Tui International Bridge, is a road rail infrastructure of Valença International Branch, which crosses the Minho River on the border between Portugal and Galicia. The statue of Saint Eutonio is a 20th century sculpture evocative of the figure of the first Portuguese saint, the inspirer and protector of the nationality. Born in 1082 in the Valencian parish of Camfém and died in Coimbra on February 18, 1162, the first Portuguese saint known as the patron saint of enslaved Christians for having supported 1,000 Mozarabic men, women and children, captured in an incursion into Andalusia by Dom Afonso Henriques.
Built in 1715, it is located in the southern part of the fortification. It was 2 rectangular rooms surrounded by a high wall, portal between pilasters topped by the Portuguese stone of arms, and below by the Tade stone. Inside, under a sepulchral slab, lies the Lieutenant General João Vitório Mirão de Sabione, governor of the square and founder of the Royal Artillery class. Religious Baroque and Rococo architecture, the Chapel of Bom Jesus de Bonfim, designed by Manuel Pinto Villa-Lobos, has a rectangular nave and chancel. Inside there is a small image of Nossa Senhora do Carmo, patron saint of Infantry Regiment No. 21, stationed in Valença, and which a soldier carried in a backpack whenever the regiment went on campaign.
This natural park is excellent for walking, horse riding or cycling. There are around 375 kilometers of trails marked on the ground, with different levels of difficulty, so there will certainly be one suited to our physical conditions. And who hasn't dreamed of flying like a bird? We can experience this feeling on a paraglider in Linhares da Beira, flying over this historic village, which is also mandatory to explore on foot. With a maximum altitude of 1993 meters at the tower, Serra da Estrela is an area of rare beauty with impressive mountain ranges where we can experience the silence of the heights intensely and take advantage of these moments of communion with nature to observe it, noticing the variety of vegetation, the birds, or the flocks of sheep led by dogs of the breed that the Serra gave its name to.
It is common knowledge that the sun brings happiness. The approximately 300 days of sunshine that inundate Portugal every year help explain the country's success as a tourist destination. For an extended stay, there are stronger purposes, such as the search for better living conditions and work. The quality of leisure time turns out, however, and increasingly, a factor taken into account. Paradisiacal beaches, inviting terraces, and a natural heritage rich are just some of the charms that Portugal has to offer. The 7 natural wonders of Portugal were recently elected, namely the Laurisilva Forest on the island of Madeira, the Peneda Gerês National Park, the caves of Mira de Aire, the Lagoa das Sete Cidades, Portinho da Rábida, the Formosa River and the volcanic landscape of Pico. It is worth admiring them and still discover many others. Friendly, attentive, creative and welcoming. This is how the Portuguese are seen by foreigners living in the country. Come and visit Portugal.